Morning, all. All right, so yes, there's an early game today. No, I didn't make the preview video last night. We're doing this today because I felt like there's only three games on today. I know it's the Winter Classic, but it's only three-game day. So 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. So 2.5 hours from when I'm recording this, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Boston Bruins get the Winter Classic going. And this should be a fun one. This is the sixth Winter Classic for the Pittsburgh Penguins, ties Chicago for the most in the National Hockey League. Not really a surprise there. The first time these teams met was November 1st. That was a 6-5 overtime win for Boston. The third and final meeting will be April the 1st. Pittsburgh's 19, 11, and 6 on the season. Malkin, 12 goals, 22 assists, 34 points, is still one of the best players in the NHL. Crosby, 19 goals, 24 assists, 43 points. We're just so used to these veterans scoring at a really good rate. It's not really all that noteworthy at this point, which tells you how long they've been doing that. Boston's 28, 4 and 4. Marchand, 10 goals, 20 assists, 30 points. Bergeron also has 30 points. His coming the way of 15 goals with 15 assists. This should be a really good matchup. It's at Fenway Park. I'm going to agree with Ray Ferraro last night, who said that, he would have been trying to shoot pucks over the Green Monster. Yep, that sounds about right. I don't think I could, but I'd have to try, wouldn't I? And I think most people would try to at least see if they could hit the Green Monster, how high up on the green. You'd have a contest. It'd happen. So that's the first of three games on the day. There's two later games, one at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. The Vegas Golden Knights in against Colorado. The first meeting was October the 22nd. Colorado won that one 3-2. The final meeting between these teams will be February 27th. Both teams are carrying a substantial injury list. Vegas is right now longer than Colorado's. Vegas is 25, 12, and 2. Stone's been playing really well lately. 16 goals, 19 assists, 35 points. Chandler Stevenson he's an assist machine right now. 10 goals, 29 assists to go up to 39 points on the season. He's one of those unsung heroes of the NHL season thus far. Again, a very injury ravaged Vegas team. On the Colorado side, they're 19, 13, and 3. Cale Makar has been fantastic throughout. 9 goals, 25 assists, 34 points. Still would probably get my Norris vote if I was giving out a Norris vote right now. McKinnon, 24 games played, 8 goals, 26 assists, 34 points. His stat line was kind of rough after the game against Toronto, but we'll see how things go tonight, right? Usually that first game back is I mean, in some cases it's huge, but that first game back can be tough for players. Then at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, the Philadelphia Flyers in against Anaheim. So because Winter Classic, I figured I'd wear the 50th anniversary Philly, which has sort of a Winter Classic kind of look to it. So Philadelphia and Anaheim haven't met before. They're going to meet the one more time. They're going to meet January the 17th. We'll see how tonight goes. I'm clearly taking Philly. They're 13, 17, and 7 on the season. Konechny has been really good. 18 goals, 17 assists, 35 points. Tippett's been pretty good lately for them as well. 12 goals, 8 assists, 20 points. So Tippett's been all around the net. These are good storylines for a Philly team that definitely could use that. And they're coming off that win against LA. Anaheim's 10, 23, and 4 on the season. Zegras, 10 goals, 17 assists, 27 points. Probably not the amount of goals he would have wanted or the team might have hoped for, but, I mean, he's still doing well. He's a young player. Terry, 12 goals, 19 assists, 31 points, is their best overall player right now. Zegras being the flashiest. But there you go. So we'll see who wins those ones. Let me know your winners in the comment section below. Now we move on to the news of the day. Starting with good news for Washington Capitals fans. Tom Wilson, Nick Backstrom, TJ Oshie, all three of them are in practice wearing full contact jerseys. So that's good news. That's the last step before you actually return to the lineup. We'll see when they get activated and put back onto the roster, but that's good news. That all three players look like they're getting that much closer. Of course, with Oshie, you have to watch because this won't be his first comeback this season. Now, for comebacks, St. Louis Blues are going to be without two pretty major pieces of the roster. Ryan O'Reilly, who has been off to really, this first half of the season has been brutal for him, and now he has a broken foot. He's going to be reevaluated in 6 weeks. There's a lot of discussion about what he might be worth at the deadline. I don't know how many teams are going to be in on O'Reilly. His numbers have been pretty bad. And the alarming part with O'Reilly has been the defensive side of it. The numbers have been bad as well. So We'll see. Now, he's going to be reevaluated in 6 weeks. Doesn't necessarily mean he's back in 6 weeks. So if he's not back before the deadline, that could be a major piece of the puzzle for St. Louis if they're going to go into some sort of a retool, if they're going to sell guys off. It might be tough if O'Reilly's going to be hurt for that long. Tarasenko, it's an injured hand. He's supposed to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So a little more optimistic with Tarasenko. However, again, injured hand. He hasn't had a fantastic season. He's on an expiring contract. It's kind of a worst case scenario for Blues management in that here's two pieces that were likely going to be in demand at the deadline, and this will definitely suppress that demand. And there's still questions to be asked about how healthy they're going to be at the trade deadline. So we shall see, because the trade deadline is 2 months from tomorrow, and that'll sneak right up on us. Before we know it, it'll be March. Erik Karlsson sets the team record for the San Jose Sharks. His point streak hits 13 games last night. I mentioned in the recap last night, too, how they showed footage during the game of Karlsson, how tough he is to cover. The other side of that being that as a defenseman, if he's not going to stay at the point, he's going to pinch, and he's going to go, right side, left side, he's all over. You have to make sure that your forwards are back and covering for him, which is fine. There are forwards that can do that, but it is kind of tricky. He is the sixth defenseman in NHL history to get to a 13-game point streak. I think Paul Coffey has the record. I want to say 20. I know they've been showing that chart a lot lately, but Karlsson's point streak is impressive. But the reason I mention that is because he does play kind of like a rover, and I know people get upset with that, but it's true. He goes wherever he feels that he can generate the offense. And I don't think he's a pure defenseman, but I think that's sometimes when he was playing his best hockey in Ottawa as well. So we'll see what happens when the season comes to an end and they vote on Norris and whether or not fans agree. So the signings that I talked about yesterday, we saw Joe Pavelski sign an extension with Dallas. Great news for Dallas and their fans. Perbix has signed an extension with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It is a 2-year extension worth $1.25 million per season. Perbix has been a very good depth defenseman for them. The first game he played, I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's a Tampa Bay Lightning player, so he'll probably be pretty good. And he is. And so Tampa Bay continues to get guys to sign for what I think are very reasonable contracts. I don't think they have contracts in their lineup that you can look at and say, well, that's way too high. So whatever Julien Brisebois does and whatever Steve Yzerman was doing before that works. The Tampa Bay Lightning are continually able to get guys to sign contracts for very reasonable prices, and it works. And it's not just a Florida thing either, because the Panthers have had some iffy contracts over their history. So it's not just the taxes are lower in Florida. It's also some pretty good haggling and negotiating. It probably doesn't hurt that Tampa Bay has been a Stanley Cup champion twice over the last few years, and they've been to the Stanley Cup 3 times in a row. So it might make it a little bit easier to sell a guy on the idea of, okay, if you take a little bit less money, you might get a chance at a cup ring, which is something that for Florida, it would be a tougher sell because Florida hasn't been to the finals since 1996. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. And like I said, also winners of these games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.